animals and love spending time with them.
I think it's a great job. Doesn't feel like you're coming to work when you're here.
But let's have a look at what it's like to work with those animals.
My name's Charlotte Rowe and I'm the farm supervisor and I'm training to be the farm manager. I have been here for 10 years, so I started when I was 15. My favourite part is probably more like the health side of them, I'd say. So treating them, so regular treatments, if they become poorly, it's really interesting to know about like the different medication and stuff like that. My favourites would probably be the goats because they are so cheeky. I love all of them. They're always naughty, always the customers are saying, oh, they've nicked my bag of food or something out of the pram. I just find it so funny. And Biscuit and Waffles, when they jump out of the pen, that's also very funny, but at the same time, very annoying. I like the sheep as well. I have my own pet sheep. Yeah, I love sheep too.
My name's Emily and I'm a junior farm assistant. I definitely prefer to work with animals. They can't talk back for a start. They also just, again, their characteristics just make it more fun, where people, yeah, they talk back. That's the main issue I've got. I've got to talk to people, where animals, they don't really care. They can't answer me back and argue with me.
Working with animals does sound like a lot of fun. However, there's a lot of hard work that goes into caring for these cute creatures. But how hard could it be?
So I'd definitely say it's harder than easier physically, because you have to do a lot of manual lifting, mucking them out, carting loads of water backwards and forwards, raking in fields. There's a lot of physical stuff. So I think most people come into it and are like, oh yeah, you get to like cuddle the animals all day, stuff like that, but that's not the case. Like, it is honestly so hard work. You have to like work outside when it's raining, when it's snowing, and people are always shocked when I say that I have to come in on Christmas Day to obviously feed the animals. They're like, why do you have to do that? Because obviously they need to be fed. So it's a very hard job and you need to be dedicated for sure.
I'm definitely worn out, but I wouldn't want it any easier because I feel like I've done a day's work, whereas if I was just, I could never do an office job, just sat doing nothing, because I wouldn't feel like I've achieved much. Where with the animals you can like physically see like what I've done and what I've achieved, and it makes all the effort worth it because you see them happier, and yeah, I find it makes it more worth it really.
As we know, COVID has changed us all one way or another. This doesn't exclude the animals either. COVID has affected them as much as it has affected us. But how did they adapt to this new situation?
During COVID, Rocks and Barns had to close, so unfortunately we had no visitors on site. So I think for the animals, maybe they were a little bit lonely, so we had to give them extra food, extra like attention, groom them a bit more, just to make them happier, because as you know, they literally love people, especially when they are fed by them. In respect to working, it was more a lot of like alone working, so we didn't work with anyone else. So that probably impacted us more than obviously them. And I found probably we got a lot more jobs done because we were closed and just because we had the time. So the only thing I think affected the animals was the people, not being able to see the people daily. And obviously we just had to, give them extra attention because of that.
So during COVID, like we couldn't even touch tools. Like we had to have gloves on. It was just very hard. So tools had to be disinfected. And then obviously the animals didn't get as much enrichment. So with the sheep and alpacas and goats, they would get fed by hand, but they had such a long period of not getting fed by hand, which is quite boring for them really.
Animals are usually playful and energetic, so you can always tell when something is wrong with them. It's never nice to see an animal suffering, so the people working with those animals will always do their best to try and get that animal back to being healthy.
Unfortunately, Tinker at the start of the summer, I think it was, he stopped pooing. So basically he was very constipated and he couldn't go to the toilet. So we had to contact the vets, which they came out and recommended to do lots of stuff. So I think they came out like 5 times a day was the max, to flush lots of fluids through him to try and like get rid of this blockage. we would then have to walk him around the pen every hour, give him honey, give him supplements. So it was very hard work. I had to come back in the evenings twice to just walk him around, try and get his gut moving and just keep giving him lots of supplements. So it was very full on, very worrying, very scary.
I was in the first day we noticed it, and I think we tried pretty much everything. Like, I was sat in the field, trying to hand feed, chopped up carrots really smally, like nothing. It was a bit of a worry because obviously he is an older donkey, so it makes everything more worrying. Once we found out, kind of when we had the vet out and he was kind of giving us a kind of course of treatment, like walking him, it was harder to do because you had to fit more into the day, but you do it because obviously they need care and treatment and they deserve to be helped.
Tinker's actually the oldest animal on the farm, so he was born around 1992, so he's quite old, but not that old for a donkey. I mean, they can live like a lot longer than that. I wasn't here obviously when he came to Rocks and Barns, but what I believe is that we sort of rescued him from someone because they could no longer look after him and were looking for a companion, so he came to Rocks and Barns. I think at that time we had another donkey and they were together, and then later on we got Spike. So this is Tinker, as you can see. He's doing really, really well. He's just having his morning breakfast at the moment. So he did give us a bit of a scare in summer, but he's absolutely great now. However, since then we are having to do some regular stuff with him to prevent any blockages in the future. So we give him some standout pellets every month, and that just clears out any blockages that he might have. And we also have changed his food, so he no longer gets straw, he gets hay instead, and we soak that for him so it's not high in sugar, because if not then he'll get a big tummy. But yeah, he's doing really well, as you can see. Yeah, he's very happy munching on his breakfast.
Working outside and being with animals is so much fun. It is also very beneficial for your mental and physical health.
Definitely. They're always fun, like nothing's ever the same. There's always something going wrong, there's always something happening, and you just got to find problem-solving ways. Mentally, it's helped my mental health a lot, like having to come out, feed them, water them, muck them out, like giving me a purpose. Also, just like having cuddles and spending time with them just also helps in general. Physically, it's made me fitter, stronger. Like obviously lifting bales, we're constantly mucking out and it's heavy work sometimes.
I think it's a great job. Doesn't feel like you're coming to work and you're here. You have to obviously enjoy it and be invested in all the animals, but then you get that attachment to them as well. So yeah, I definitely recommend it if you're a hard worker.